For decades, the story of the West Philippine Sea felt like David versus Goliath. It was a narrative of tense standoffs, strongly worded protests, and the constant shadow of a superpower's naval might. We've all seen the images: huge Chinese Coast Guard ships towering over small Filipino fishing boats, swarming in waters that are internationally recognized as belonging to the Philippines. For so long, the question was simply, what can the Philippines even do? But that question is changing. The narrative is shifting. This isn't just about some construction on a remote island. And it's not just a new missile system showing up for a military exercise. This is the Philippines drawing a new line, not in the sand, but in the contested waters of the West Philippine Sea. The story isn't just about Chinese aggression anymore. It's about how the Philippines is fighting back, not by provoking a fight, but with a smart, calculated strategy to assert control. This is the inside story of their military overhaul, and it's happening right now. To really get why this transformation is such a big deal, you have to understand the immense pressure the Philippines is under. The West Philippine Sea is a vital artery for over $3 trillion in global trade every year. But for Manila, it's about sovereignty and survival. China's sweeping claims, which were invalidated by an international tribunal in 2016, have turned into a constant, intimidating presence on the water. Throughout early 2026, the Philippine military has monitored a near-constant swarm of Chinese naval and Coast Guard vessels inside its waters, a pattern seen around key islands and reefs. This isn't a passive presence. It's an active strategy of gray zone warfare, actions designed to intimidate and assert control without starting an actual war. These encounters are often paired with a rise in Chinese research vessels, sparking alarms about underwater surveillance. The armed forces of the Philippines expects this pressure from China's Navy, Coast Guard, and Air Force will only continue to consolidate through 2026. For years, the Philippines was stuck with aging naval ships and an army built for internal conflicts, not external defense. Patrolling its own vast, exclusive economic zone was a monumental task. The challenge was clear. How do you defend your waters against a much larger force without provoking a full-blown conflict? The answer, it turns out, isn't to match them ship for ship, but to change the entire game. The first piece of this new strategy rises from the waves 500 kilometers west of Palawan, Pagasa Island. It's the largest feature occupied by the Philippines in the Spratly Islands and is being transformed from a remote outpost into a hardened, strategic hub, a forward operating base in the heart of the contested sea. At the center of this effort is the Rancudo airfield. After a major investment push, the government reported the runway extension was complete in mid-2025. This isn't just a simple repaving. It allows larger military planes like the C-130 to land, dramatically cutting down response times for surveillance and supply missions. Next to the airfield, a new $300 million sheltered naval port is taking shape. This fixes a huge vulnerability: weather. Before, supplying the island was a nightmare in rough seas. The new port lets Philippine Navy and Coast Guard ships dock safely, ensuring a steady flow of supplies and allowing for sustained patrols. To complete the picture, a new aircraft hangar and control tower are also in the works. These upgrades, part of a multi-billion peso investment in the Spratlys, are about more than just concrete. They create what military planners call endurance. They allow the Philippines to maintain a constant, all-weather presence, turning Pagasa into a vital link in a defensive chain stretching back to the mainland. It sends a clear, physical message: we're here to stay. The second part of the Philippines strategy isn't something it's building alone. It's forging one of the most dynamic alliance networks in Asia, with the United States at its core. The key is the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA. This agreement allows for the rotational presence of U.S. forces and the development of facilities at key Philippine military bases. Under the current administration, the number of EDCA sites has nearly doubled, from 5 to 9. The new locations are strategically brilliant: Naval Base Camilo Ocias and Lalo Airport in Cagayan, Camp Melchor de la Cruz in Isabela, and Balabac Island in Palawan. The sites in northern Luzon offer a strategic viewpoint over the Luzon Strait, a potential flashpoint in any regional crisis. Meanwhile, Balabac Island, at the southern tip of Palawan, acts as a flank guard, securing the approaches to the West Philippine Sea. These aren't the sprawling American bases of the past. They are Filipino bases, being upgraded with significant U.S. investment. Over $82 million was allocated for the first 5 sites, with a further $144 million congressional appropriation announced in early 2026 for more work. This cooperation is most visible during the massive Balikatan, or shoulder-to-shoulder exercises. These annual drills have grown dramatically. The 2023 iteration involved over 17,600 troops, while the 2024 exercises saw about 16,000 Filipino and U.S. personnel participate. The 2025 drills involved over 14,000 troops from both nations. Looking ahead, the 2026 exercises are expected to be among the largest ever, with Japan slated to send around 1,000 troops, a huge jump in its participation. This growing web of alliances also includes agreements with Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, creating a network of like-minded nations committed to a stable region. Hardened island outposts and powerful friends are 2 parts of the puzzle. The third is firepower. The Philippines is building a credible deterrent by adopting a porcupine strategy, making any potential attack too costly to even consider. This means buying its own modern weapons and using alliances to bring advanced capabilities into the region. A game changer for the Philippine military is the acquisition of the BrahMos supersonic anti-ship missile system from India, with the military activating a Marine Corps unit in northern Luzon to operate the new weapon. This gives the armed forces a powerful land-based threat to hostile ships. The Navy's modernization is also hitting its stride. The commissioning of 2 new Miguel Malvar-class guided missile frigates in 2025 marked a significant leap forward. These 3,200-ton warships are armed with modern missiles and sensors, giving the Navy a real blue-water combat capability. The Navy is already planning to acquire 2 more frigates of the same design, building a more sustainable and effective fleet. At the same time, joint exercises with the U.S. have become a stage for deploying some of America's most advanced missile systems. During recent Balikatan drills, the U.S. Army brought its Typhoon mid-range capability missile system to the Philippines. The launcher can fire missiles that strike targets hundreds of kilometers away. Drills have also featured the U.S. Marine Corps' Nemesis, a mobile anti-ship missile system. While these U.S. systems are deployed rotationally for exercises, their presence sends a dual message. It trains Filipino forces on cutting-edge technology and signals a shared commitment to defending the region. This complex, high-stakes evolution in the West Philippine Sea is one of the most critical geopolitical stories happening right now. What are your thoughts on this new strategy? Do you think this mix of island building, alliances, and new hardware will be effective? Let us know in the comments below, and if you're finding this analysis valuable, make sure to like and subscribe for more in-depth reports. The Philippines is rewriting its own story in the West Philippine Sea. It's moving from a position of passive defense to one of active strategic deterrence. The transformation of Pagasa Island, the deepening of its alliance network, and the introduction of advanced missile systems aren't separate events. They are 3 pillars of a single, coherent strategy. This isn't a strategy of aggression, but one of assertion, the calculated response of a nation determined to protect its sovereignty. The path ahead won't be easy, and the situation at sea remains tense. But the Philippines is no longer just reacting. It is actively shaping its own destiny by building a new front line based on presence, resilience, and credible strength. The old David and Goliath narrative is being replaced by the story of a nation methodically sharpening its own spear.